Paramount thing, it ain't over yet. There's more stuff. And now, from one controversial thing, it's controversial in general, Steph, just the fact that they want to buy it. Well, this is going to really ruffle your feathers. I know it. And we'll discuss. And that is that Paramount CEO reportedly is planning to use AI to increase the movie and TV output if the merger goes through. What does that mean? Well, I do know that they're making AI robots very soon. I just saw this on Instagram, Steph, that they'll cook and clean and wash your clothes and all that. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah. And it really is turning into the Jetsons. Anyway, a new report states that should Paramount merge with Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount's CEO intends to use AI to ramp up the number of films and TV shows. Plot thickens. Daniel Klissman again, for the potential merger between Warner Brothers and Paramount because AI has reportedly entered the conversation. Though multiple parties have been said to be interested in acquiring Warner Brothers following the company's sale announcement, such parties include Netflix, Apple. The biggest contender to become the studio's new owner appears to be Paramount, David Ellison. The company has so far sent in 3 bids, each adding new things to make the proposal more attractive for the WBD board. One of those added perks was making David Zaslav co-CEO of a merged Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery deal. All 3 bids have been rejected, but Ellison seems determined to acquire the studio. Now, an interesting report has come out about the reported plans should Warner Brothers end up merging with Paramount. In a report about the current potential merger situations, Bloomberg stated that Ellison intends to take advantage of new technologies like AI to produce more films and TV shows. According to Bloomberg sources, he intends for a potentially merged Paramount Warner Brothers to have an output of 30 movies per year. In the span of only a few years, AI has become a potential disruptor in industry. Multiple creatives, such as Del Toro, for example, and guilds have spoken about the use of the tech. In fact, it was used as a major point of contention in the 2023 WGA SAG-AFTRA strikes. Yet, at the same time, more and more creatives and executives appear to be leaning toward employing the technology. Many high-profile productions have already used it, a good example being Marvel, Ant-Man, and the Wasp: Quantumania. However, given the contentiousness of artificial intelligence, many such productions don't openly advertise their use of it. In case where AI use is uncovered, apologies or statements on the matter are usually released. However, if Warner Brothers does indeed merge with Paramount, Ellison reported plans come to fruition, the CEO would take the first major step in normalizing AI usage in Hollywood. After that, it would only be a matter of time before other studios follow suit. As of now, Warner Brothers has not accepted bids from potential buyers, so there is still some time before we know what actions a potential new owner of the company will take. However, given how strong a contender Paramount seems to be, it's likelier than not that Ellison will end up acquiring it. Thus, Bloomberg's report may provide a reasonable idea of what to expect should it merge with Paramount. Okay, so the first part is exactly what we were just talking about, and we've been saying this. Does seem inevitable. This guy wants it. Seems like he will get it. Now, it's not really clear in this report from Bloomberg what he would do with AI, just that he would use it. What does that mean? Does that mean he would use it for editing purposes, writing purposes, graphics, everything? Like, what does that mean? Like, just that he would incorporate it? Does that mean look, everybody else is sneakily using it. We're going to be out there and using it. We are going to push it forward. We know that eventually everybody's going to be using it anyway. So we'll take the hit and take the controversy and take the criticism, and we're going to do this all AI guns blazing, if you will. Like, what do you think it means? Oh, I love talking to you guys about Ridge wallets. I mean, I've talked to you about Ridge wallets before, and if you haven't heard it, well, I'm going to tell you again because they're awesome. They're so good. I used to have that big clunky wallet. Now it's a lot easier. Everything just fits together. Who wants that big, giant, crusty leather brick falling apart? It stinks. What's great about these is that they're unique, they're slim, it's got a modern design that holds up to 12 cards plus cash. For me, I've got the New York Giants one. Yeah, tough season, but hey, you got a good quarterback. And it just looks cool. There's over 50 plus colors and there's styles to choose from. Like I said, I got the Giants one. It's great. It's got over 100,000 five-star reviews. You know, the other thing is when you lose your wallet, it's like Panic City. But the good news, with the Ridge AirTag attachment, you'll always know exactly where it is before the panic mode kicks in. No matter what your pick is, Ridge has free shipping, 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products. So for a limited time only, our listeners will get 10% off a Ridge. You got to use that code Kristian at checkout. You got to head on over to ridge.com, use the code Kristian, and you're all set. Now, after you're going to get one, and you will get one, they're going to ask you, hey, where'd you hear about us? You say, Kristian Harloff told us about it. Support the show. Tell them that we sent you.
I have no idea. It was just a matter of time for one person to be like, I really don't care about my reputation as an artist or a creative. So I'll take the blame and let's just go full steam ahead with this. Um, I I mean, it makes me very scared for the future of the business because I don't know. It feels very ominous, like we're gonna be using it. But to me, it's like when you have a money making person whose just top concern is making money, it's like they'll use it in any way that they possibly can to save money. And they'll probably go really far into it. And then if viewership goes down, then kind of step back or maybe ease into it. But regardless, I think that the plan would be to use it as much as possible before there's usership, like a downgrade in users and
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also, look, the technology is changing every day.
Right.
It's changing like in leaps and bounds. You look at already I remember we used to have those conversations about, well, AI, the uncanny valley, you just know when it's not real. Not anymore. Sora 2 changed that shit. I'll tell you. There are some things that, look, there are sometimes you look right away and you go, well, that's not real. There's other things though, like this thing is emoting. Like it has, like, because that was always for me, is that the AI voices were so bad. And it was like, well, when I would see the Luke Skywalker AI stuff, and he'd walk into it and be like, and then I wondered what Ben would think. And look, I would look over there and realize everything was changing. And you're like, well, there's nothing to it. Now they're laughing, they're moving their mouth around the same time, they're thinking. It looks like it's crazy scary what the programs are doing now, and they're learning every day. That you could see it where, let's say, they want to do a thing where, okay, here's an example. I just talked about Famke Jensen. I really enjoy
Mhm.
saying her name now that I know how to say it. She plays a pop star, a former pop star who had a big hit back in the day. Now, right now, they can go back and they can use some de-aging and other things too. But if they wanted to, with this tech, they could put together a young Famke Janssen at 21 years old singing a damn song, the whole damn song, and you wouldn't know the difference at all. That's where they're at now with that tech. And maybe that's the kind of shit that he's going to use. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's like you don't know, and then I feel like it's one of those things that once they open the door to it, it's like
Mhm.
it's kind of endless. Uh yeah, it's kind of just scary to think about. I understand in some uses, like I don't want to be like a curmudgeon that doesn't use technology, but it just feels like with the arts that relies so much on creativity and humanity, which feels like things that AI cannot replicate, but they'll try to use it in every other aspect of the business until the business becomes dwindled down into this kind of like, "Oh, you can watch this while you scroll on your phone." And
Right.
it's not like the same engagement where you would go to escape from the world, you would go to see yourself on screen, a story, a moment that reminded you of your life. It just feels like, okay, then what are we watching at a certain point? So I am curious to see what happens. It feels like there's no stopping it. So I don't know what's better, like resist, 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 or just kind of like try to be a part of managing it.
Right. Right. And that's ultimately the thing, right? Because, and this is what we said the other day. Um, what is going to happen for at least a very long time is that you're always going to have people who, and should fight against it, be against, don't, you should be able to be creative, encourage people to be creative, not just be lazy and rely on this technology, right? And there will always be that in in my generation, in your generation, But as we mentioned many times over, the generation that's being born into it today is not going to have the problems with it that we do, because they were born into it and they're going to be used to it in the same way that, like, I don't know, like cell phones wasn't a thing when I was a kid. Cell phones and things like, and computers and shit wasn't, but like kids, they don't know a world without cell phones and computers, and and it's just, it is like, because my Sadie will say, oh god, it was so much. Even Ming, we were watching something the other day, he's like, it was so much easier back then. The kids today don't know that shit because that's what they were born into. The same kids are going to be born into AI, and they're going to just use it as a tool in the same way they use a laptop.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I think that
I'm
there's
not
a
saying
lot
it's
of
right or wrong. I'm just saying,
right. But
it's just going to happen.
I fear for kids, like, because it's one thing to be able to be good at technologies. That's awesome. They can kind of cut through the workplace in a way that we couldn't before. But then on the other end of it, it's like we already have a job crisis. And Amazon just cut, what was it? Like 60,000 jobs,
Wow.
like the
Yes. 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 Yep.
biggest cut that they've done,
Right.
th so that they could prepare for AI in those replacement jobs. So
Right.
it's like, what kind of future does that build actually economically for
Yeah.
kids, where they are so in with AI that they don't even realize that that replaced a potential money earner, the way to
Right.
support their future
Right.
families? And then in addition to that, it's like changing the way they view stuff. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like we were one of the last generations where it's like when movies were, they're fairly new, and the magic of someone being able to create an image through a camera, then edit it with a team, and there's a magic to movie going that I'm like, are they not going to even be able to actually understand that, and that's why
Right.
they don't care?
I'll tell you, if out of all of the entire, I mean, look, the entire business is obviously up in arms, rightfully so, when this, because of the jobs and everything too. But if I was in animation, I would be terrified
Right.
if I worked in animation, because the thing with live action, still there are times they have it. There's still a couple times you can catch it, and there's other things, and we don't know how much longer. I've seen Family Guy clips, I have seen Simpson clips, I've seen Pixar trailers and all that stuff that are completely just someone typing in a prompt and saying, "Let's do this." Boom, and it looks like, and it was animated, and it looks like the best animators in the world did it. Um, and where an animated movie typically will take, what, 3 or 4 years to make, you can now make it with these programs in a day, or maybe 2. And people with animation, with using voiceover and music and changing it up and stuff too, you can make animated movies way faster now, way faster. So if you were Ellison, you're like, why are we doing 4 years to do this movie? We can do this one, then we can do a sequel in a year. And you can't, because the same thing, you can still use humans to say, okay, we have the blueprint. Here's the hour and a half movie that we came up with. That seems a little, it didn't catch that. Let's add a couple lines here. Let's use, but the whole project, the animation part of it is done. I would be terrified if I was an animator. I'd be
Right.
terrified.
Right. Yeah, there's a few jobs like that where it's like, damn, like, if that's what you guys wanna do now, then I don't even know where I could begin in life again, because that's my entire craft. Like,
Right.
people go to school their whole, like, that's their whole study,
Yeah. Learn
and
how
then
to do
they
it.
yeah, and then they get a dream job at Pixar, and then they spend, like, years on each movie, like, we see it with Across the Spider-Verse, and the final of it, it's like,
Right.
it takes years and years, and I don't know, like,
It's crazy,
yeah.
Steph. If you went to Sora right now and you put in a prompt, uh, and you and me starring in a Sony Pictures animated film in the style of K-pop or Spider-Verse, where we were doing an animated podcast, it would pop up like that, and it would look like the animators did it. And like you said, the skill that went into that to learn, because this is where I do agree, where this is really, there needs to be more the people need to be paid for these things too, but it's just hard to lock it down because what AI is essentially doing is going into the past and picking out what people have created and now
Yeah,
recreating that and using
it's
it. Like it
stealing
could,
it.
right? It's still it couldn't have learned it on its own. Not that, it learned it from reference points of what people created.
Mhm.
So that's the tricky part of it because you can go. I mean, obviously, if someone recreates a Family Guy episode and Seth MacFarlane goes, "F you, pay me for that," I own
Right.
that. You can't do that. But if it's like, hey, the style of, and then the next thing you know, it's gonna be it's someone in the chat said you got to outlaw it now. That train has left the station. We're too far. Too many people are using it now, and it is you cannot turn on any news program and not hear about AI. You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, it's everywhere now, and now it's the default of search engines. It's like you'd have to go and turn it off on Google for your if you ask a question to Google, it just defaults on AI. Now even my phone says, "Do you want me to use
yes,
ChatGPT
yes,
as
yep.
Siri to answer your question?" So it's like it's making people money, and once that happens,
That you just said it. You just nailed it. Because that's the rationale for a lot of these people is that, well, yeah, sure, we're losing those jobs, but they're going to be replaced because the people who are actually learning. Because that's the other thing. The younger generations coming in who are going to understand it and who are going to use it more. There will be more jobs involved with AI. So some of those jobs that are being taken away, that are just not necessary anymore because of it. There will be newer jobs, but some jobs like older generation is not going to just not going to figure it out. So
right.
I don't know. What do you guys make of the initial story that Ellison will probably use AI, and where do you stand on it? It should be a debate, should be a conversation. I want to hear about it. Put your thoughts in there. And let us know. All right.